the divine parable, decoding the universe's most powerful force. What if the most primal force within you was never meant to end with you? What if it was a message encoded by the Creator, pointing to something far greater than pleasure? Every human being was engineered with a sexuality that far exceeds the biological minimum required for reproduction. The clinical requirements for procreation are remarkably simple, yet what was actually built into the human experience is extraordinarily complex, layered, and consuming. Why would God engineer something so elaborate, so powerful, so seemingly disproportionate to its functional purpose? The answer lies in a thesis hidden in plain sight. Sexual attraction is not merely a biological drive. It is a parable, a living metaphor written into the fabric of human existence, designed to point the soul toward a divine and cosmic reality. This brings us to the origin of the pull. In the beginning, Adam was complete, whole, functional, and in communion with God. Then something was removed, a vital part was taken from him, and in that moment of separation, something new was born, longing, a deep, aching pull toward what was once whole. This is not coincidence. This is architecture. The direction of power flows in a specific way, from the pursuer to the drawer. The man leaves his father and mother and cleaves to his wife, as Genesis 2:24 declares. The power moves outward, driven by an internal hunger to pursue, to find, to reunite. This is the divine design of relational dynamics, encoded, not accidental. Now let us decode the parable. On one side, the earthly shadow, the sexual realm. On the other, the divine reality, the spiritual realm. Every element of human sexuality maps to a corresponding spiritual truth. The attraction, the pursuit, the vulnerability, the union, each one is a shadow cast by a greater light. The physics of wooing operate like gravity. There is a force, invisible yet undeniable, that draws one soul toward another. Science calls it chemistry. Theology calls it divine orchestration. The act of wooing mirrors the cosmic reality of God, drawing humanity to himself with cords of loving kindness. The Greek word for worship, proskuneo, means to move toward in order to kiss, to fall prostrate before. Worship is not passive. It is the posture of one who has been overwhelmed by beauty, by power, by love, and responds with total surrender. The anatomy of consummation reveals two movements, outward and inward, the giving of self and the receiving of another. This interplay of surrender and invitation mirrors the theological mystery of divine union, the soul being filled by what it was always designed to contain. The secret of the climax, every crescendo in human experience, points to a reality that transcends it. The peak of physical union is a whisper of what the soul was made for, a fullness, a completion, a moment where the self dissolves into something greater. This is revelation by design. There are two paradigms of marriage woven through Scripture: the sexual paradigm from Genesis, where two become one flesh, symbolizing union and completion, and the service paradigm from Ephesians, where love becomes sacrifice, mirroring Christ and the Church. Marriage holds both truths simultaneously. Marriage is a sacred pact, a covenant of coital tension, power exchange, and divine connection. It is not merely a social contract, it is a living sermon, preached daily by two people choosing each other, dying to themselves, and pointing all who watch toward the mystery of God's love for humanity. The theater of the world. Angels and celestial beings observe humanity, not as spectators of failure, but as students of a mystery they cannot fully experience. Through human love, sacrifice, and union, the invisible attributes of God are put on display. Humanity is the stage, the cosmos is the audience. What the celestials learn from watching human love, sacrifice, the willingness to give what costs you everything, abandonment, the courage to leave all you know for another, vulnerability, the strength to be fully seen and fully known, and the ultimate contrast, the tension between darkness and light that makes love's triumph so magnificent. The tree of life reopened. Sexual attraction, rightly understood, is a signpost back to Eden, back to the garden where humanity walked in unbroken communion with its Creator. The pull you feel is not just toward another person. It is a memory, a longing for home, a parable pointing you back to the source of all love, and forward into the fullness of what you were made to become.